Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel. If you're new, hi, my name is Ashley and welcome to Ashley's Roses. Today I'll be sitting down and sharing all my thoughts about 5 Feet Apart, what I liked, what I didn't like, things I saw that were accurate, things that I saw that weren't accurate, and just my overall thoughts of the movie. I saw it on March 14th and the 16th. And for those who are new, I actually do live with cystic fibrosis, so I have a pretty vast knowledge about everything that occurred in the movie. Also, before I begin, I just want to state... Oh, you've got to be kidding me. So, we're gonna have to take a brief intermission because someone is vacuuming. Okay, now we're back. As I was saying, before I begin, I just want to say that the beginning half of this video will contain no spoilers, but the ending half of the video will. So when I get to the point where I'll be sharing spoilers, I will let you know. That way, if you want to hear 0 spoilers, you can click away or you can continue watching. I had read the book prior to watching the movie, so I did know what the storyline was because the book was based off the screenplay. The one thing I did know was that the ending in the book was going to be different from the ending in the movie. So that's the only thing that I wasn't sure what would happen. Watching the movie the first time, it was actually a little bit hard for me just because I was kind of on CF alert to know who were the other CFers in the room, and also realization hit me that I would be watching a movie about something that I live with every single day. So there were a lot of emotions going into seeing it the first time. I feel like I wasn't able to fully wrap my brain around what I liked and what I didn't like when the first time I saw it, just because the whole time I was just kind of numb, like I can't believe I'm watching this, like it's good, but like I can't believe I'm watching this. And then the second time that I saw it, I was able to just sit there and really enjoy the movie, and I can definitely say it's one of my top favorite movies. I actually did like the storyline. Even though people with cystic fibrosis are not allowed or recommended to date or anything like that, this movie really portrayed how isolating this illness can be and how our lives aren't normal from other people, and also how we have to grow up faster, and how special the bonds that we have with other people's CF are, but also how heartbreaking it can be as well. They really touched on a lot of aspects, things that I didn't think they would touch on, and then things that they did touch on, which I will get into later when I can talk about spoilers. It was honestly amazing to have a movie that you could understand what was going on medically and be able to relate to it and see similar things that you do, or that you know that other people CF do, or just see yourself in different characters. For myself, I actually saw myself through Stella and Poe. There's a lot of emotional aspects of her that I can really relate to, and with Poe there are a few things that I see myself in him with, but I can also see a lot of my CF friends through him from that. And seeing Stella and Poe's friendship just reminded me of a lot of my friendships with a lot of my CF friends. I really liked Haley Lou Richardson as Stella. She did a phenomenal job of portraying someone with CF, showing all the emotional and physical aspects, and you can really tell how much research that was done with all the actors who played CF patients. You can tell how much research that they did to understand cystic fibrosis, understand how to physically act a certain way, and to really portray that CF patient. I do understand that Claire Wineland was a part of making this, and that she was on set, and that there was a nurse on set, and that other CFers were involved with this. I can definitely say it showed. And I also saw so much of Claire through this movie. A lot of people don't know this, but one of the people who inspired me to start making my YouTube channel was Claire Wineland. I watched her YouTube videos. I think she was the first CF YouTuber I ever found on YouTube. And by her sharing her story and her life, it made me want to share my story and my life on YouTube as well. And it was just amazing to see Claire through the whole thing, and I feel like that was really special to the CF community. As I was saying, I can tell that the actors really did their research to get everything as accurate as they could. I've been watching a lot of interviews since watching the movie. I did not want to watch any interviews until after the movie, and I haven't watched all of them, but I've watched a few. I can tell how much knowledge that Cole Sprouse and Haley Lou Richardson have from their research. I was just blown away that they were using all this terminology that I always use, and terminology that I always have to break down and explain to people, and to see them be able to explain it to people and understand it. And like, they were talking about things that I don't really explain to people because it's too complicated to explain, to be completely honest. But I mean, that's the thing about cystic fibrosis. It's such a complicated disease, and then when you have all this knowledge of medical terms, and then you have to break down those medical terms so that someone else can explain it, you really have to understand everything to be able to break it down. And they were able to do that in different interviews and speaking to different people, and I was just so impressed. Like, they understand cystic fibrosis, they understand how it affects the body, they understand how it affects a CF patient in their day-to-day life. Okay, I'm gonna get a little bit technical for a second, but when I watch movies, I like to see how it was filmed and how it was edited and the different transitions, and if they use a stabilizer or if they didn't use a stabilizer, if they use a tripod or if they didn't use a tripod, and different lighting, and okay, and just I like the production side. So I liked seeing how different things were shot. I especially liked how there were a lot of points where the camera would be focused on one area, and then it would refocus, which means like okay, how do I explain this? They would focus in on that area, and then to refocus the area to somewhere else, they would blur out the front part and then have the back part be focused rather than blurred. They did that a lot to bring like a lot of emphasis, and so your eyes can focus on certain areas. And I don't know, that stood out to me a lot, that they did that multiple times throughout the movie. And I like that they did that, because then you weren't distracted by everything that was on the screen, and that you're able to like really focus on the characters or the specific things that they were talking about. I really liked the music that was chosen. I'm not talking about the instrumental music. I do like the instrumental music. I think the instrumental music was beautiful and it fit each scene well. I'm talking about the other songs. Before the movie came out, 5 Feet Apart made a playlist on Spotify of all the songs that they would use in the movie. And when I was listening to it at the time, I was like, okay, this is good, but it'll be interesting to see where they put it into the movie. What I didn't realize is that they actually put the songs in order of how it was going to be put into the movie. And I've been listening to the playlist non-stop. I will link the playlist in the description box below, and again, it was created by 5 Feet Apart, and it has all of the songs that were used in different scenes, and that they're all in order of the different scenes. I really like the music. I like what they chose. It really added to the scene, and it really added to the emotions of what was going on in that scene. So I think the songs that were chosen were top notch. Okay, so I've now gotten to the point in the video where I will start sharing a few spoilers. So if you don't want to hear any spoilers, I recommend clicking out. But before you click out, just want to say that I absolutely loved 5 Feet Apart. So I highly recommend that you go and check it out, go watch it, go see it. Just bring some friends, bring tissues, but bring some friends. And if you have cystic fibrosis and you're going to go see the movie, make sure that you follow all of the safety precautions. I was a part of a PSA video, which I actually posted last week, so you can go and check that out to see and hear all the guidelines that everyone is suggesting that people with cystic fibrosis follow while being in the movie theater. I followed all of those things while I was in the movie theater, and it did help me recognize who had CF and where it would be smart to sit in the theater. So if you haven't already seen it, because it's all over Instagram, but if you haven't already seen it, you can find it on Instagram. All my socials are down in the description box below, or you can go and look at the video that was posted last week, and definitely go and follow and support all the other people with CF in that video. Okay, so for those who are sticking around, I will continue. There were a lot of things that I noticed that were accurate. A lot of things that were accurate. But there were a couple things I noticed that were inaccurate, and I will be sharing my thoughts on those just so I can educate you guys, for those who don't understand it or don't realize this. So the first one is with Will having B. cepacia and wandering around the hospital. That's not ideal. Most of the time when a patient has B. cepacia, they're isolated to their room because they can be a risk to other patients in the hospital. The second thing that I noticed is with the isolation gowns that you saw them wearing in the movie, those yellow gown things. Every time, not really visitors, most of the time it's not visitors, but every time a staff member comes in to a patient's room, they have to gown up because that staff member may have germs on them from other patients. So that staff member is a risk to the patient. So by gowning up, it protects the patient. And there are many times that the team members and doctors and such were inconsistent of putting on the gown before going into each room. I've heard a few people say a few things about that, and I agree. I think the team members should have been a little bit more consistent with that. However, I'm not going to bash that or say anything like how could you not do that, because to be completely honest, my own team is not consistent in that. I don't even know if my team watches my videos, but if they do, that's something that needs to be worked on. But also as a CF patient, I am the one who should be pointing that out every time they come into my room saying, hey, gown up. So that's also on me. But my team is also not consistent in consistently gowning up. There's only like 2 or 3 people on my team who are consistent in doing so. So if you guys watch these videos, which I highly doubt you do, those 2 to 3 people who do that, thank you. The next thing was lung transplant. Now, I am not on the transplant list. I've never had a lung transplant, but I have had friends who have had lung transplants. And just what I've seen from the pictures is that when you have family and friends in the room with you after you receive your lung transplant, everyone is gowned up. They have hairnets on, I think. Okay, I'm not positive about the hairnets, but they are gowned up, and they do have masks on, and they do wear gloves. And that's just because the body can be prone to different or the body's very sensitive to different germs and infections at that time, so you just want to take all precautions that you can. So the fact that the family members were only wearing gloves after she had had her lung transplant, that wasn't very accurate. Then again, I don't know how it is everywhere. That's just from what I know from my friends. Now, before I wrap this up, I just want to share my favorite scenes. I mean, there were a lot of scenes that I really liked, but there are a few that really stood out to me. There's a part where Poe is talking to Stella and he says, "Oh, this disease is like a prison. I wish I could just hug you," or on the lines of that. And that really stuck out to me because it is hard sometimes, like when you want to give that person a hug but you can't. And that really hit me, because that's just like, yeah, you know, like there are times like I really wish I could hug my CF friends, but you know, I can't. And just the way he said it, it just really hit home. There's a part where Stella and Poe are talking about love, or it's actually where they're kind of in the argument, but there's a part where Stella says, you know, that Michael, he knew you had the disease, but he loved you, and you loved him too, but you were too afraid. And that's something that I think a lot of people with cystic fibrosis deal with. I mean, I have in the past too, where I talked to my best friend and a couple of my CF friends and mentors about this, and it's just the fact that, you know, you live with this and your family has lived with this, but then you have to, when you get older, you have to trust someone that, you know, that he's going to be there for you and that he's there to support you and still love you no matter how hard this illness gets. And I remember telling my best friend that I'm like, I don't know, like, you know, like what if he can't handle it, you know? And she said, you know, you can't make the decision of if people can handle this or not. She goes, I can handle it, your family can handle it, your friends in your life can handle it, so why couldn't your future boyfriend or husband or whatever handle it? And she goes, you have to just trust that they can handle it and that they're going to be there for you and to take care of you. So like when she said that, I was just like, yeah, that's true. So I really related to how Poe was feeling in that moment. The pool scene, I found that scene to be very beautiful. The part where they take off their clothes and they're showing each other their scars. Just because it showed that, you know, you're beautiful, like who you are, and even though you live with cystic fibrosis and even though you have all these scars, it doesn't change you as a person. Those scars don't define you. And it was just a really beautiful scene of just kind of stating that, you know, you're not alone in this and that you're beautiful. And I don't know, that scene was just, it was really beautiful. I think that's all I have to share for today. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and turn on that post notification bell so you're notified every time I upload a new video. Comment below any thoughts or questions that you may have, and don't forget to follow any of my social media. I'm the most active on Instagram. Don't forget to check out my previous videos, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.